I'm just, I don't know, man. Like, where did this come from?
All right, troops, we're back. General Stames here with another episode. The SOS and the full faction is here tonight. Fastlane 2019. Why wouldn't we have the full faction here for Fastlane 2019? To my left, he's from Hollywood, Pennsylvania. Jeff Edwards. To my right, the Captain of Chaos AC, and sitting right across the table from me, looking at me face to face with those beady eyes, the Steamtown Stunner, the Electric City Saint,
With an
Robert Ventura. Hey, yes. What's up, guys? Let's get you in here first, Hollywood. What's going on?
Just watched some Fastlane. Can't wait to dissect it. Seeing a lot of mixed reactions out there on the Twitter. And I actually can't wait to hear how many degrees of bad or good we're going here. Because we got AC in the house. What's up, AC?
What's up, everybody? I'll save the degrees of bad or good rating for later in the show. I'll just say I'm still confused.
Aren't we all?
Overall, quick synopsis. I thought there were some good matches. I thought there were some bad matches. I thought there were some entertaining spots. And I thought there were some very puzzling spots. But, I mean, I guess that's where we are on this road to WrestleMania in 2019.
I think you're right about that. And Mr. Stunner, Mr. Electric City Saint, how are you tonight?
Doing pretty well. I'm very excited to break this down with you guys and get your thoughts on it and give my thoughts about it as well. There's a lot of good tonight, and there's also a lot of bad. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys liked and didn't like, and contrast to like what I liked and didn't like.
Now, this is the first time in about a week that we had the Steamtown Stunner back here, Electric City, saying he had that big accident. He was in the concussion protocol, but I think you were cleared by the doctors. I mean, I'm like, Hollywood, did we have to make him sign the hold harmless agreement, or was he cleared by the doctors?
Well, he was cleared by the doctors, and then he wasn't cleared, but then he got re-injured, but he didn't need clearance then, so then we had the hold harmless thing, but I don't know what the status is now. I'm not sure.
Well, there you go. Okay, let's start this off.
If you're going to sue anyone, sue Stames.
Yes, sue the general.
I have a great law team, Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. They're a fantastic law team. Look, I want to touch on something real quick in the pre-show. World-class wrestling star Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, bro, this guy is... I knew it. When he came to WWE, I said it. He was going to get shot to the moon, and he's there, isn't he?
Karate chop.
Pre-show chop.
Bro, this guy is everything but destroyed at this point. Does anybody have anything to say about Shinsuke Nakamura?
Yeah, head back to Japan as fast as you can. That's all I can tell you, Shinsuke. Don't even try to make a stop at AEW. Don't try to save Impact Wrestling or ROH. Just fly back to Japan, and they will get you over very quickly, because that's the only thing that's going to save you at this point. I don't know what else to tell Shinsuke.
I agree with that. Go home. Just go home and rebuild.
Robert, do you have a different opinion?
No, I completely agree. I think he needs to definitely go back to Japan, and I kind of feel like it's very sad that he's the friggin' pre-show. I mean, he should be in definitely in the upper card or in the main event or something, and he's there. Like, I don't know, it's just really bad, bro.
I mean, he's the solid pre-show man of 2019. He's been on the pre-show of every pay-per-view, right?
Yes. So, yeah, we're what, 3 for 3 now?
You know what's sad about it is it wasn't long ago that all of us were talking about this guy in such endearing terms. I mean, he was one of the premier wrestlers in the world. I mean, we talked about 5-star match after 5-star match with Shinsuke Nakamura and what he's been reduced to. And I have to say it, AC, Hollywood, we've said it on the air. We saw this coming. We knew this was going to happen to him. We thought it was a bad move for him in his career. and it seems like it is turning out exactly as we saw it.
I'm gonna go back to olden times on the old 1640 PWPR too. I'm not even gonna go. This is before the karate chop, blading for truth, words of wisdom. He said, Edwards here, Hollywood Edwards said years and years ago, if you love Shinsuke Nakamura, go watch him where he is in New Japan, in Ring of Honor. Don't wait for him to come to you because you might not get the Shinsuke Nakamura that we are enjoying at the time. And I think there was a little prediction of the future there. The end of Shinsuke Nakamura happened with a shot to the crotch of AJ Styles, and the character, the skills, the talent, whatever you want to call it, just never recovered from that booking, I guess you'd say.
Was that the night, Hollywood, where Shinsuke came out of the locker room and made the statement that he did not speak English? Is that the night he's talking about?
I think it was the same one, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was. Sorry, no speak English. I think it was that night. But yeah, I remember when he debuted, I remember seeing people on Twitter saying, actually, I remember it. Like, I could picture it. A couple guys having a conversation about how this Nakamura guy from Japan is overrated. And that's all you needed to see for like the next 3. Well, now what are we in? 3 years now? I mean, we all saw it. We all saw it.
From what I understand, if he doesn't re-up, he's very close to having his contract run out too. Now, I don't know what he'll do, but he's going to be in the same boat as AJ Styles and the Usos and a ton of other people, Carl and Doc, who are leaving. I mean, we'll get into it later, but I don't think that this company can suffer too many losses like that, but we'll see what happens here. All right, let's get into it. The go-home show. It's the go-home pay-per-view to WrestleMania, Fastlane 2019, and we started all off with a tag team championship match, and why wouldn't we? Because tag team championship matches are the primo matches for the WWE. So we get The Miz and Shane McMahon versus the Usos. I'll start it off with you, Hollywood. What did you see in this match? What do you want to talk about? Shane McMahon and The Miz versus the Usos.
I think we all kind of figured that they were going to be splitting up. I didn't see it was Shane. I thought it was going to be Miz.
Agree.
Doing the turn. But all I have to say is the Usos have been tremendous lately. And I actually said on a recent show, we were talking about, I believe it was you, me and you, Stames. We were talking about old tag team matches. And we kind of got one tonight because they always split the ring in half with the heels and they work for the hot tag, but they usually blow it. Like on Raw, you'll see it all the time, but they usually blow the spots, the comebacks and all. But I think tonight they did it pretty well. And I think it's a testament to the Usos because they did a lot of brawling tonight. We all know they can fly all over the place. They've been awesome on the mic. You just said it a couple minutes ago. They're not going to be able to afford to lose. There's a big drop-off to me from like Uso-style tag wrestling to the 3-team match that we saw with the young flying around guys, okay? If they lose guys like that, they'd lose guys like Carl and Doc, they're going to be in some trouble, and they're going to have to do some repair jobs, I think, in their tag division. So anyway, for this match, Usos for sure, they're on fire. And, of course, the big heel turn for Shane. I think Shane would I'd actually be more interested in seeing Shane versus Mrs. Dad at this point. I don't know about you guys.
My money's on Mrs. Dad. Chaos, Captain of Chaos. What do you got for us in this match?
I mean, I'm one of the biggest fans of the Usos. There always will be. I love them to death. I agree. Everything Hollywood said about the Usos. I actually did expect Shane to attack Miz. I thought it made sense with the story they were telling. I think you're going to get, it's obvious we're going to get Miz versus Shane. And I'm not against it in any way, given the fact that I think the Usos should be probably the top tag team in WWE. And if they're in the storyline with the Miz and Shane, I think they take a secondary role, which I don't like. So I think maybe we can move on to the Usos having a bigger program for Mania. I'm not sure that that's going to be the case, but that's what I would like to see. And I like the idea that the Miz wasn't the one to go heel here now, and I'm kind of over the whole Shane McMahon coming out and dancing bit. I don't mind to see him as a heel. I'd like to see what the Miz can do as a babyface, because I think he's been one of the guys who's been pretty consistently good the last half a decade or so. I will reserve judgment on the feud with Miz and Shane. I don't think it's bad yet. I think it could be okay, but like anything else, we got to wait and see.
Well, right off the bat, I will say that I'm a very big fan of the Usos. I think they're one of the best premier tag teams in the whole entire business right now. They're great. One of the best promos, honestly, too. Like their promo that they did on SmackDown was very entertaining. And even though they were the heels, and I seriously was cheering for them at that point, because seriously, they're just that entertaining and that good. Yeah, I mean, tonight was a very good match between these four guys. We had a very great spot where Shane broke up the pin, and then he got double teamed by the Usos. And then, right after that, Miz tosses out one of them and hits the skull crushing finale on the other guy and goes for the pin, but the ref is distracted and he's checking on Shane. And then he finally turns around and counts the pin and only gets a 2. And bro, that got such a great reaction from the fans, and it got heat on the ref. And I absolutely loved that spot. There was another cool spot in the match also too, where like Shane was setting up the coast to coast, but one of the other Usos climbs the turnbuckle and they have that standoff, and then that resulted in them like intercepting one another in midair and like that big crash. I mean, that's another spot again. Like really, the crowd really ate that up. They were chanting, "This is awesome!" It was a very cool spot. I really enjoyed that. And then obviously the finish of the match, we have Miz's dad. He's like encouraging him to jump off the top rope and go for broke, but of course Miz goes to the well one too many times, and his top rope splash gets reversed, and that costs him the match. I really like the storytelling behind the finish of that, like that his old man basically influenced how the match ended. And I'll say too that I saw the heel turn coming a mile away, of course, but I wasn't 100% sure who was going to turn on who until after the match started and how it ended. And quite frankly, I think it was a smart move to have Shane turn heel here, but I also at the same time Miz's face run has been, like, for me personally, it's left a lot to be desired, quite frankly. But overall, I think it was a very good match. I liked everything about it.
They were probably stuck with that in Cleveland, especially. I mean, you couldn't hardly turn Miz heel in that situation. The holy shit moment by Shane McMahon, that's vintage Shane. He comes into the match, he does one thing and tries to, put all the boys over by having the best move in the match. That's Shane McMahon. That's what he does. Okay. So, but you know what I like about this turn is now Shane turns on the Miz, and we're thinking it's because now the Miz has lost twice for them. But let's be honest. The Saint just said it. If Shane could have got his fat old ass out of the ring, the Miz had the match won earlier in the match. Shane was the reason why the referee didn't count to 3, because he couldn't get out of the ring. So really it was just as much Shane's fault as it was Miz's fault. Moving on to our first Elias segment. Guys, I mean, I'll listen to you what you think, but I think this guy's a home run, and tonight in particular, he was very entertaining. He did a great job with the crowd. I thought he was an absolute home run. Saint, what do you think of this guy Elias and what he's doing now?
Well, I will say right off the bat, I thought like the little concerts in between, I thought they were hilarious. I think the way he played off of the matches previously that occurred, I think was very well done, even though, sometimes the stuff wasn't really rhyming that much, but I digress. I mean, it was very entertaining. I think they have a potential star on their hands here. I think I'd like to see this more often, where every other couple matches, he'll come out and make fun of what happened. I actually thought it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
AC?
I obviously love Elias. Edwards and I have talked about this multiple times. I think they're missing the boat on him huge. Given the fact that he's got the size, the athleticism, and he's one of the rare guys that they could hand a stick to and just say, go. Maybe here's a bullet point and he could go with it. I think you saw that tonight. I don't know if this idea of having the multiple segments was a Pritchard deal or a new thing they're going with.
Dana Warrior, maybe.
Yeah, I was clearly her. I mean,
Correct.
She's bringing all the great ideas. I mean,
no doubt.
We'll get there. I mean, her and Dewey. I mean, who could bake the better coffee? But anyway, somebody's got to clean the toilets and tighten towers. You got to lead me. You got to get me right off track here. I love Elias to close it out here. The spots are good. You know, some of it was a little, I don't know, a little too rhymey for me. Like I would have rather had him get a little more. I thought he got a little edgy with it early on. I thought the later stuff was a little more kind of like, okay, we get the idea, you know. But all in all, it was good. It's nice to see him. I thought he got a prime spot on the program, even though he wasn't in a match, which is different. So it's okay with me.
Now, Hollywood, you're the music guy, so I want you to get into the music, the levels and or the layers in the music and all of that. What do you think of the actual music of Elias?
I'm not the only music guy here, but I figured you knew that already. But yeah, what AC said in Steamtown Stunner, Electric City Saint, I digress, whatever your name is. But what they said in a nutshell, I agree with. But my worry is basically what you just said, AC. It's like, as the night goes on, obviously he has the size and the skills, and, you know, mic skills, all of it. But as the night goes on, it kind of gets tired. So I'm wondering, is he going to get stuck in this until everybody hates it, and then he becomes irrelevant? Or are they going to quit it while they're ahead and try and build him up to like a higher level? Because obviously he can pick up a mic and go. So maybe it's time for him to say, you know, I'm never singing again for you people. You hate me, you suck, whatever. And now you got to elevate it to the next step, which would be grabbing the stick like The Rock and trying to go out and, you know, talk instead of doing the act.
Maybe a spot with The Rock at WrestleMania.
Well, maybe that would be pretty good. See how he measures up.
Well, the guy's not bad in the ring either, so I think that his in-ring stuff isn't so shabby either. He can definitely speak and very good. So I think he's got the tools. All they got to do is give him a little bit of a push.
I know you guys aren't NXT guys per se, but one of Shinsuke's first matches after the great match with Sami Zayn, which was kind of like his introduction into the WWE NXT developmental or whatever they call it. He had a short program with Elias Sampson, which was his name at the time, and NXT that was pretty damn good. I'm sure a lot of people don't remember that or may have never seen it. But I mean, this guy's worked with very talented guys at a high level. I just fear that he goes the way of Bray Wyatt.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison. Yeah.
It's great too that Shinsuke's best match was his first match in NXT. So, I'm glad for that. So
we all are. So is Sammy.
Moving on to the SmackDown's Woman title match, Mandy Rose versus Asuka. And guys, I'll let you speak on this because I thought this was trash. I mean, I thought this was a horrible match. I think Mandy Rose needs to go back to NXT.
How dare you?
I don't have a good thing to say about this match. Hollywood, what do you got?
Besides the hot level, because I know she's in the top 5 currently of the AC top 5.
Top three.
She's top 3. Shit. Okay, I stand corrected. I digress. Anyway, yeah, I agree. There's nothing there for me. I'm sorry. I would say Asuka was wrestling a broomstick tonight, and she did the best that she could. And
Agreed.
I don't
How
know.
dare you.
I don't get the act, bro. She looks to me like she's Diet Alexa Bliss. Do they really need that again? Like that character? I mean, come on.
And does she have a move other than that knee? I'm not sure.
Well, she does the knee, and that's what I saw, the knee.
So she's a broom with a knee.
So are they hiding the fact that she doesn't really have a good work rate, or what's going on there?
Mandy Rose reminds me of puppies and evening gown matches and pillow fights, and that's why I love her.
Makes sense.
But I'll say this. Why so many titles? Why do we need to have a SmackDown women's title? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't.
A misogynist would ask that.
No, I don't. I'm not. Listen, I am not a truck driver driving through Paducah, Kentucky right now. All I'm saying is, do we really need to defend a SmackDown's women's title, a whatever champion? I mean, what brand is it the Raw Tag Team Champion Women's, and then have a match to battle for the Raw Women's Championship? I just think it's too many title matches. I just think it was, we got to get Asuka on this card. And, okay, here's Mandy Rose. And she's hot and guys will like her, like me. Okay, cool.
That's pretty much it. That's what you're saying. The excuse was because she has a title. And it doesn't need it.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's good at all. I mean, all kidding aside, I obviously haven't, I like Mandy Rose and enjoying her talent, but I don't need to see her wrestle for women's titles on pay-per-views either. Just, that's all. I feel the same way about Nikki Bella. I mean,
same with what we see later on in the pay-per-view concerning Tamina and Nia attacking Beth Phoenix. It looks like we're going to probably have 4 women's matches at WrestleMania. I'm thinking both titles will be defended. The tag team titles will be defended. And then we'll also have that match, possibly. Maybe they'll just reduce it to Beth Phoenix versus Nia. I don't know. But your thoughts on this match, and how excited are you to see those 4 women's matches at WrestleMania?
Well, I'll say right off the bat, I think that will probably be overkill, but in a way, I think it's good that they're trying to mix up like who they have on there as far as the diversity, as far as like the gender is concerned. I mean, I think in a way it's good that, the women are getting more of a spotlight now, but in a way, at the same time, it's a little like overboard, I think, especially like you said, if they're going to potentially have 4 women's matches on the card, I think that's kind of excessive. Now, as far as this match is concerned, it was very passable at best. I mean, it was not a very good match at all. I think it's funny, during the match, Mandy yelled, "No one cares about you," to Asuka, and I almost think that she was right about that. And it's sad because Asuka barely got any reaction during this match, and I partially blame that also, on Mandy, of course, because she was not really getting heat on herself to contribute towards the fans wanting to cheer for Asuka. But it's very sad too, because Asuka is one of the best as far as the in-ring technicians as far in the women's division right now, and for her to go out there and get like absolutely no reaction at all like that was pretty pathetic. I mean, there's a lot to blame there, of course. The booking of the matches wasn't that good. Obviously the performance wasn't that great, but I will say that I'm kind of glad that they got that out of the way and we could move on from that and see what Asuka is going to go up against next. Apparently, the report is that she might end up going against Lacey Evans. So that would be very interesting, I think.
I'll say real quick, sorry to cut you off, whoever was going to talk, but real quick, I liken this to women's college basketball. You have like those 5 top teams, and then the drop-off is vast after that.
I'll give one positive to this match, and I'd say the high point of the match was Graves marking out and putting over Mandy every 5 seconds. That part of it was actually very funny, and it was somewhat Bobby Heenan-esque, and I think that kind of like sells like her as a heel, I think, very well. But other than that, like the actual match itself, god awful.
I thought you were going to say Mandy's ass.
So when Grace puts her over, though, isn't he putting her over for her hotness? Is that what he's putting her over for?
That's what I'm putting her over for.
But I thought we were getting away from that with women's wrestling, right? I mean, they're not objects of the guy's eyes anymore.
I mean,
here's what's interesting.
Right, we still don't look at them like that. Right.
Right, yeah. I'll let you guys go around the horn. And nobody mentioned the finish of the match, that Sonya Deville messed up and Mandy Rose slipped on the ring apron and lost the match. I think that's interesting because it shows me how much you three guys cared about this match. And here's the thing, Hollywood. In the end, we can try to be more diverse. We can try to give them more of a chance. We can give them 4 matches at WrestleMania. But in the end, Hollywood Edwards, does women's wrestling sell?
It does not sell. And this is what I wanted to jump in with. You have, and Stames, let me ask you directly, because I want your answer especially on this, because we've talked about it. Women's wrestling doesn't sell. Go back to Glow, okay? It doesn't sell. Companies like that go out of business, like Glow. You look at the ratings now, they're overboard with the women's matches. Look at the ratings, okay? To a casual fan, they don't want to see women's wrestling. Now, here's my question. If the hand that we're going to be dealt as wrestling fans, 2 brands with 2 women's titles, okay, why not have this organic push with Becky, who's on SmackDown? Why not have this star, Charlotte, who's on SmackDown? Why not have them involved with Asuka's title instead of moving them to Raw and having Asuka stuck on an island now? I don't understand that because you already have Ronda over on Raw. No matter who you put her up against, she's going to sell because she's Ronda Rousey. So this Asuka Mandy Rose thing that is now being, we don't know what to do because we're pushed in a corner. Grab Mandy Rose, she's hot. Okay, you could have avoided that by keeping those 2 girls on the brand that they were on and involving the 3 wrestlers instead of moving 2 of them and leaving one of your wrestler girls on an island by herself.
And it was the logical thing to do when you think about it. Becky tapped to Asuka. She's Stone Cold Steve Austin now, right? She's the man. She won the Royal Rumble, had a chance to wrestle any champion she wanted. You think Stone Cold Steve Austin wouldn't have wrestled the person he just tapped out to? You think he would have ran over to the other brand and picked somebody else? There's no way in hell. Stone Cold Steve Austin would have avenged that loss. It's illogical to me, beyond what you're saying that they put all the good girls, if you will, over on Raw and left Asuka over there by herself. It's also a little bit illogical, especially for the story they're trying to tell with Becky. It doesn't make sense. And that's why we keep on saying there's a lot of holes in these storylines. And I'm sure we'll be bringing up more of this as we go through this show, but it just doesn't make sense to me in that respect as well. Go ahead.
No, just a quick thought. I'm not saying I disagree with you guys, but is this not something that AEW should consider when you have your chief branding officer being Brandy Rhodes, who's bringing a lot of women into that company? Now, granted, the hires they've made so far have been very good, but I've been at indie shows, and I joke around about this one's really hot and da 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 da. It's not really joking. I actually enjoy watching hot women, but at the end of the day, like, I've been at indie shows where I've seen very, very, very attractive women who don't exactly wrestle as well as the not so attractive one. And you could see it in indie crowds where the not as attractive women's wrestler who can actually go and get a crowd reaction and tell an in-ring story starts getting over, even though they're not the babyface. So I think in this wrestling climate, if you're not a wrestler too, that's why I love Tessa Blanchard so much, is a name I'd throw out there as that has both, can appeal to both, but can absolutely go. And I think AEW has tried to bring in women that way. And I'm not saying the WWE has it either, because they have. I just think they're doing too much with too little. If let's say they're telling 8 stories and 4 of them are women's stories, but you have 50 guys and 20 women, I mean, let's be honest, your percentages aren't great there. You know what I'm saying? And
it's out of balance.
Yeah, they're right. That's the right way to say it. It's out of balance.
But the fans that like the women's wrestler instead of the, just the hot chick, they're already watching. You know what I mean? Like, they're already watching. So,
but where's Alexa Bliss?
I think she's a both. I think she's a both.
Right, but she's not in any of these programs.
Oh, right.
There's other. To be honest with you, I think the top heavy, the Raw women's talent was better than the SmackDown's women talent, and like you guys just brought up, they took Becky and Charlotte from SmackDown and put them on Raw. So now they have so many good women on Raw. You have ones lost in the shuffle, and you have Asuka sitting over here on an island with not a lot to work with, which is why this idea that they're 2 brands makes no sense. And the other thing, and I'm sure we could get into this later, with this, we can have the conversation all day, whether or not it's developmental or not, and Michael Cole welcoming NXT talent to WWE, as he says, even though there's 75 WWE signs at Full Sail for the NXT tapings. Mauro Ranallo is on NXT programming saying that the black and gold brand is making a name for themselves on the big brand. So he's calling it a brand. He's not calling it developmental. He's not calling it NXT. He's calling it another brand. But then you have the main announcer on the biggest show they have welcoming them to WWE. So it's everything they do is confusing.
Next segment, guys, we're going to move on to Kofi Kingston standing outside of a door with a sign there that says McMahon family. Obviously, the McMahon family, the entire family, shares one locker room. I'll tell you this. I'm going to go around the horn with you guys and let you say what you want about everything that transpired here. And we're going to meld this right into the match, the Kofi Kingston versus the Bar match, because I'm not sure that the match itself was very important, especially being that the crowd was chanting "This is boring" in the middle of the match. But the most confusing part to me here is, and maybe you guys can offer a reason why this happened, is Kofi says he's been standing there ever since they got him. and Woodsy says, "Wait a minute, man," or Biggie, one of us said, that was an hour ago, And then they go inside, and Vince says he's been waiting on Kofi. What the hell was that all about? Anyway, I'm going to start with you, Saint. What did you think about this whole thing?
Well, the classic saying, of course, is "Don't cross the boss," and we're seeing this. It's very similar to Austin and McMahon. That the way that they're booking this, of course. I mean, in my opinion, I look at it this way. They're giving us what we want by taking it away, essentially. They're building like the anticipation and, playing on the fans' anxiety of getting what we want. And that essentially makes the payoff in the end that much sweeter. And I'm sure that's what they're banking on, of course. There's, in my opinion, as far as the booking is lately, there's a method to the madness as far as, how they're booking Becky and, Kofi, as far as their situations go. I mean, that's what the chase is all about, essentially. They're intentionally sticking it to Kofi and the fans so you could connect with his character more and have sympathy for him. And that way, when he finally gets his big match, that it means that much more, and it makes more sense as far as storytelling goes. I have no problems with it so far, but that backstage segment with Vince and Kofi was kind of weird the way that they went about doing that.
I respectfully disagree, only because I don't think they're building to what we all want for a payoff. I don't think they ever wanted Kofi in that spot. I think it just organically happened, and they had their "oh shit, what do we do" moment. And I think they are trying any way they can to kill it and make you think they're going to give you what you want. They're not putting Kofi Kingston in that spot. I'm sorry, they're just not going to do it. I mean, when let's be honest. There's been example after example after example. And I know everybody goes back to Daniel Bryan in 2014 or whatever it was for WrestleMania 30, and everybody thinks that the fans made that happen. But let's be honest. I still think there's a very good possibility that's where they were headed anyway. And I don't think Vince is sitting there saying, "Oh my God, pal, they chanted Kofi during the match, so let's put Kofi in the match." You know what I mean? Because that's not what he's doing. That's not the story they're telling. They're telling a story about Kevin Owens right now, and Kofi's story has something to do with that. I agree, but they're not going there. I'm completely confused. And when you guys say McMahon's the crazy old man and he's pulling guys out of matches, and sooner or later they're going to have him committed, never to be seen on wrestling TV again, it all sounds great to me. I think it's very convenient that that's what is going on right now. I think that personally, they're trying to get you so fed up with the story that it'll just go away on its own.
Yeah, Hollywood.
Who will? Because, like, I'm looking at it this way. Like, really, I don't see who they would have in that match. I mean, you're saying Owens and Daniel Bryan. To me, that doesn't really scream a WrestleMania main event to me. Now, I guess you could argue
but it's
that
not main eventing, though.
Isn't either. But I mean, I feel like right now, who else could they really go with?
But it's not main eventing. The women are main eventing. So I mean, you're talking about a mid-card match, really. I mean, in all reality, Lesnar and Rollins will probably go after it. I'm sure that match, there's a chance that match could open WrestleMania at this point. You know what I mean? Like, we're not talking about the end-all be-all program of the show. Could they have gotten there? Maybe. But let's face it, they're not main eventing WrestleMania with Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan right now. It's just not happening anyway. So we're talking about a mid-card program on the B show, which is clearly the B show. The ratings say it's a B show. They treat it like the B show. And they are treating Kofi the way they've treated Kofi for 11 years. Let's face it, the video package that they played the night that he was supposed to sign his contract and get his big match, of all Kofi's major moments, was a U.S. title run, him eating pancakes with New Day, and him keeping his feet in during the Royal Rumble. Where was the goddamn WWE Kofi Kingston, oh my God moment? There's never been one. So you're telling me
listen,
11 years later they're going to have an epiphany and Kofi Kingston's going to be the man?
Whoa.
No way.
Hey, Alex Jones. You're going too fast, Alex. You're saying too much. Who's they? No, listen. Shout out Joe Rogan and Alex.
Look it up.
Look into it.
Look into it.
I could see your point if we looked at the card before the show started and it said The Bar versus Kofi. Okay, but it didn't. They played with that. Okay, the whole hour, I've been waiting for him for an hour. What are you talking about? It's a story. He's crazy. He's insane. Okay, I think what they did tonight with leaving Kofi, I mean, they addressed it storyline-wise. They addressed Kofi. Granted, yes, it's crazy grandpa, right?
Fair. They addressed it. I'll give you that.
Right, but they put Mustafa Ali back in the match, and I think that was a test. They wanted to test the crowd, and he got no pop tonight. We want Kofi. They got Kofi, and I think Vince did that for a reason. Okay, their initial plan was to push Mustafa Ali. What happened. Now Kofi's getting over organically. Let's test the waters here. Let's make sure for WrestleMania that we're going to do the right thing, if it's Kofi or Ali or Owens or whatever. I can't believe that Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens were in that match tonight and the crowd was chanting Kofi. So in my opinion, to go back to what Electric City Saint was saying, you look at Owens kind of disappeared out of the match, right? It was Ali, Bryan goes over on Ali, And I actually had the minute there after it was over. I thought, what's next? What do they got for Mania? All they have is Kofi. So I think, and again, it goes back to our crazy theory about Crazy Grandpa getting removed. Somebody's going to put Kofi in that match. It has to happen because there's nobody else on the roster. I mean, you could do Owens, but is that really going to sell? Because I think if you're looking at it in terms of Brock holding the main title, you know, that's Hogan and Andre at 3. What stole the show at 3? Steamboat and Savage for the secondary title.
Yeah,
That's Kofi.
That
That's Kofi and Daniel. They have the secondary title.
They didn't want it then either. It just happened.
But they don't want that stuff though. We know that.
But they're going to do that for the wrestling fan, the hardcore wrestling fan, the wrestling fans. I think that's what they're setting up.
What are they going to do? Are they going to give us Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens? I mean, let's face it. In tonight's triple threat match, to me, Kevin Owens was the third guy. The two guys that shined in that match were Daniel Bryan and Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I agree.
Kevin Owens was the third man in that match.
Which is crazy.
That's what he proved to me.
Which I think part of it is this, as I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, we're 3 weeks from WrestleMania. 3 weeks. Where are they going to get the time? And I understand they have 5 hours of programming a week, but it's getting like late quick here.
You're getting nervous. I know what it is. You're getting nervous. Yes.
I'm not nervous. Why would I be nervous?
Well, you're getting as the fan. You just said there's 5 hours, bro. There's 5 hours. They have 15 hours of TV to do before.
And it's actually 4 weeks.
It's really not a lot though. You know what I mean? It's really not a lot. And in terms of when you take it back, and we've talked about this recently on shows, when you take it back to big matches at WrestleMania that they took 5-6 months to tell a story and get you invested. When are they going to get to the point with these things? That's my thing. They're here, they're there. I understand maybe trying to take you on a roller coaster, but get to the fucking point and get to the story at some point. Like don't just be like, oh,
slow burn.
It's not even a slow burn. This is what they do at WrestleMania now. You'll find out that day. Well, no, I don't want to know that day. I want to have something I could give me a reason to watch that day. Don't give me like, oh my God, this is what they want you to read fucking dirt shits and sit around and go, oh my God, this could happen and we might get this surprise. And you had all the morons thinking that Kenny Omega was going to show up at the Royal Rumble while he's still under contract for New Japan, and they're just like, well, maybe he'll just break his contract because it's only 2 days. You know what I mean? It's like they'd rather have that than put a good product on TV that guys like us could be like, holy shit, they're telling us a good story. I just think that one, it gets to the point where it gets old quickly, where it's like, all right, so you're not going to go what we like with here. Okay, I'm over it now. And I'm getting to the point where I'm over it. I'm just like, I don't fucking care anymore.
That's the payoff, though. That's the payoff. That's the payoff that Bobby was talking about. They keep taking it away. They're taking it away. They're taking Kofi away. It's gonna drive you crazy. They have you right where they want you because, but if they give you that payoff, you're gonna be like, thank God.
But are they gonna? I am not one that believes they're gonna give you the payoff.
I know you're not.
And number two, I think in the case of like Becky Lynch, I think they've already lost it. Her reactions suck now.
That's terrible.
But, yeah, right. But do you think that's just gonna magically recreate at WrestleMania?
Well, and Becky's problem too is going to be guys that if they hold that match to last, we've seen this before at WrestleMania. Those fans are sitting there for 8-9 hours. They're dead by the end of the night. So there's not going to be any reaction if that's the last match. But going back to Kofi, I want to say two things. Number one, I think AC, with his argument, actually proved a point because they only have 4 weeks to set up that match. That match is already set up. It's ready to go. All they got to do is pop Kofi in there. And the second thing is this. When Kofi came down for that match tonight and the fans thought he was getting in that match, he got a huge reaction, maybe the best reaction of the night.
And then he got buried in a squash match.
It's true. And look at how you
like
feel.
Becky
You're so pissed. You're on medication because of that.
Well, no, I'm making a parallel with Becky Lynch. Becky tapped, and she got over huge. Becky Lynch tapped at the beginning of the Royal Rumble and got over huge at the end of the Royal Rumble, and we're sitting here 5 weeks later, and nobody cares about her anymore. I could see the same thing happening again.
Elias comes back out. And I want to say his line of the night was they said he was a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I loved that. I popped huge for it. And then we got a tag team match, and I said to myself, okay, here we go. Let's see how much more they ruin Ricochet. What do you guys think of the triple threat match? We'll go to you first, Hollywood.
The triple threat match. Well, I'm glad that the Revival retained.
I agree.
At least they got an entrance.
Yes, they got the entrance too. But to me, guys, and maybe you guys are going to disagree. You might. I need my tag team division to slow the hell down, bro. To me, there's times in that where I know what they're doing. They're trying to do the New Japan Young Bucks style, chaotic type matches. They need to slow it down because to me, okay, this might not make sense to some people, but here goes. The Young Bucks are a package. They are brothers. They are called the Young Bucks, and they look the same. It works, okay? Alistair and Ricochet are not. To me, what that match looked like was you had two teams doing chaotic style fighting to two individuals that just happen to be a team, but because of that, it makes it looks like six individuals. It looks like a tornado match.
Do you feel that way about Rude and Gable as well?
No, but because they're packaged, I feel okay about it. But the other two guys that aren't a team and aren't packaged affect the other four that are a team. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like it gives me that impression that it's like a tornado 6-man match, and it's crazy. It's not tag team wrestling. I don't understand what's going on here.
And tag team wrestling is the perfect place to slow it down because that's what tag team wrestling is. I mean, I just don't understand why they don't do that. And me with Gable and Rude, it's funny because when I see them come down the ropes together, I see them as a team. And as soon as they take their robes off, I don't see them like that anymore.
Right. That's where I was
interesting.
Going.
Okay. Yeah. I agree with that.
The Young Bucks, they're just a bunch of spot monkeys, and they're like too sweet, and all they do is super kick. Oh, no, I'm kidding. Anyway, I agree. That's where I was going with Gable and Rude. I'm not sold on them as a tag team. I can't stand Ricochet and Aleister Black as a tag team. I don't see it. I don't like it.
How sad is that?
It just
because we're all Ricochet fans.
I love Ricochet.
Ruined him. They've ruined him for us.
I love Ricochet. I'm not going to say I love Aleister Black. I like Aleister Black. I think the sky's the moon for Ricochet. I think Ricochet is a better version of Balor in a lot of ways. This tag team stuff, I just don't get. The Revival as a tag team, yeah, I'm sold. The Revival versus the Usos for the true WWE tag team champion.
Yes.
The one when they go away from this brand split nonsense and 17 different title holders, like, wouldn't it make sense to have the Usos versus the Revival for a tag title?
It'd be awesome.
I mean, like, you have two guys that, like you said, they're a package tag team. In the Usos case, very much like the Young Bucks, they're brothers. It just flows. It just works. Mm-hmm. There's something about real tag teams that there's just a difference. I think some guys could get to that point. I don't think the bar is that bad. I think they've found a way to mesh themselves together to be in a pretty decent tag team. But it's taken a while too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, this is the problem with what they do with these tag teams. Like, we're going to focus on tag team wrestling. And then the minute they're like, oh, fuck, what do we do at Ricochet and Aleister Black? Oh, well, Dusty Rhodes Classic. Tag team, pal. You know what I mean?
St. Hollywood and I had an idea just a show or two back that we thought maybe with the injury to Tommaso Ciampa, that actually it was going to be him and Gargano that were going to be moving forward in this tag team stuff. And when Ciampa got hurt, they decided, well, we have these other two NXT guys. We'll throw them together and make them the tag team. Do you think that is the case? And what did you think of this match?
Yeah, I do think that that's the case. I kind of feel like this was kind of the backup plan per se. Because I mean, for real, they're definitely a very makeshift tag team. I mean, you look at them; they don't even look like a tag team. I mean, let's ask this question: what do those two guys really have in common? And besides tattoos, that's about it, bro. Like, I don't get it, bro. Like, I just don't get like this makeshift tag team of them. Like, and it's sad too because individually, both of those guys, I like both of those guys. Aleister Black more than Ricochet, but like now that they're a tag team, to reiterate what you said, Stames, you know, on previous shows, I just don't even care about these guys now, and that is really friggin' sad. I mean, they're both very talented guys, but this whole makeshift tag team thing is it's just not working for me. And the match itself, I don't know. It was very boring. I hate to say that because all six of those guys are very talented. But when you look at this match, I mean, the Revival, they're the heel tag team champions, right? When they did their most dastardly moves and tactics, they barely got any kind of reaction. Hell, none of the fucking guys did. I mean, I really like. There was so much good with this match as far as the in-ring stuff goes, but it just did not get any kind of reaction. I mean, even Ricochet, this guy is so damn good at selling. He did a great job playing like the Ricky Morton role throughout the bulk of the match. I mean, building up the anticipation for the hot tag. I mean, he's that good at selling. I mean, I remember during the middle of the match, Dawson hit him with like the back suplex, and Ricochet sold it like he was gasping for air and like in a lot of pain, and it was very believable. I mean, I know he has a shitload of stamina, and I'm sure he wasn't really like exhausted or anything at that point, but he made me believe that like he was really like worn out and like fucked up from that suplex. And you know, I feel like this match, unfortunately, you know, it was the match of the night that people could care less about the least, probably besides the Asuka fight. I mean, you look at that match and throughout it, none of them guys got any kind of reaction. I mean, even after the match, Ricochet didn't get much of a pop when he did the 630. I mean, I know they lost the match, but that spot there, that big flip like that, he should be getting like a huge friggin' pop from that. Nothing. Like, when did we get to this point where all these dives and stuff are just like a normal move now? Like, the move is like a suicide dive. Like, why is it so like overdone now? Like, it almost like lost its appeal to it. Like, anytime these guys do all these dives, like unfortunately, it seems like a lot of the stuff just doesn't get no reaction at all because we've seen it so many damn times now. It's like we've seen everything.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, and you know that was the thing back in the ECW days. You know, you do something outlandish, and then you have to do better than that, and better than that, and better than that. And the problem is, there's a point where you can't get better without killing somebody. And I think it's the same way with the dives and the flips and everything. Don't get me wrong; people are going to still try to do better. We're still going to have people climbing up to the second level of bleachers or whatever and doing a chair spot or a table spot and missing the table. You see it on the internet. These idiots are out there. They're going to try to do it. But this is the danger in this. It's, you know, that's why Hollywood and me, and I think AC, I think we all kind of would like to see, and I don't know, same, maybe you too, it wouldn't be a bad thing for wrestling to do a little bit of a reset to back to some of the old school stuff, the old school tag team stuff, slow the tag team matches down. This is all stuff that I think, again, okay, you don't have the flips and the flops, but you have that match psychology, you know, the in-ring psychology. You tell the story in the ring. I think that could still sell today.
Well, Saint said it earlier about the crowd reaction with the ref during the Usos match. And you just questioned, you think it could still work. It can still work because they proved it tonight. So that's what they need to do with the whole tag division. They need to wind it back. Like, every match needs to work like a tag team. AC's bringing up good points. Young Bucks are teamwork oriented. Even though they're flying around, they're hitting double moves, and you're not seeing that with some of these guys. That's pretty much, yeah. If it's a team, work as a team. Look like a team, act like a team. That's about it.
Guys, Kayla Braxton is in the backstage with the WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Sasha Banks and Bayley. And let me tell you what I came away with from this thing. Bayley should never speak. Ever. under any circumstances. And you know what? The boss, she's not much better. These guys, everything they do, and not just what they say in these little backstage promos, but even when you watch them go to the ring and how they enter and the stuff they do with the holding their belts, everything they do is so damn scripted. I can't stand it. And because of it, I can't stand them. And I don't want to feel that way. I really don't. But I just hate watching them. It makes me ill to watch these two girls. Hollywood, what about this scripted nonsense?
This is all I'm going to say about this, and you guys can take this because I've about had it with this. The characters, okay? If they're going to be together, do something. Like, I want to see Bayley acting overly... I can't wait to get out there and give hugs.
Childish.
Yes, childish. And have Sasha rolling her eyes going, whatever, I don't get you, but we have business to do. Yeah, but first, I'm going to go kick the shit out of Tamina and Nia. But then, maybe I'll kick the shit out of you. Like, they need to start playing off each other. And we talked about it before. All the faces are doing this, it's my dream, it's my dream, it's my dream. They're all the same, right? Do something, man, because... Stames, you're right. The characters are so bad, and the way they're playing the characters, it's so bad that you end up hating them. You don't even want to see them anymore. And that's where I'm at with this. So you guys can go take it. Take it. It's all yours.
I'll just piggyback off what you said. I agree 100%. I think they were there with Bayley and Sasha a couple years ago, where Sasha walked that heel turn line. Was she going to turn on Bayley? Did she kind of turn on Bayley, but she didn't turn on Bayley? Now, I'll just revert back to our last conversation and not to be repetitive. Rewind. Two people thrown together. Moveset. Gel. Nothing. They're better enemies than they are friends, my opinion. Saint?
Well, I'll say this, like, right off the bat with this the whole promo backstage, it came off very scripted, and the performance was very, like, wooden. Like, it was so bad. Like, I almost cringed at, like, every single line that they said. And they're another team that I feel like they aren't even really believable as a team. Like, I know that they're playing off the whole like history that they were friends, they were rivals, this and that, but together, like as a unit, they just don't even seem like a tag team or anything like that. Like it's another case where, again, I feel like they don't really have that much in common, and they're not really, like as Edward said, they're not really playing off each other or anything. And I also think it's partially because their characters just are not. They just don't really have that much character, and I don't think they believe in that the character that they're portraying, and that further like pushes the idea that you don't really invest in them either. I mean, like even like going back in history, I would even say like Duke the Dumpster. You believe that he was really like the garbage collector, or even Disco Inferno, or whoever like that. You really believe their gimmick. And with these two, like I look at them, I don't really feel like Bayley is really like this character, this quote unquote character that she's portraying, like this like goofy kind of kitty, childish, like lovable person. I'm sure she's probably like the total opposite in real life, and it's probably the same thing for Sasha Banks. I mean, you just look at her on like the Up Up Down Down channel with like the video gaming that Xavier Woods does. She's like the total opposite, like in real life, than she is with that character. And I think that really shows that she's very vulnerable as far as like making that character believable.
And I'll ask one more question. Let's just say Tamina and Nia take this title off of Becky and Sasha, or Bayley and Sasha, excuse me. I mean, it could be interchangeable, anybody and Sasha at this point. They take the titles off of them and you go away from those two. Where is your babyface women's tag team that's going to step up next and be the story to defeat the so-called, twin powers or whatever you want to call them of the women's tag team division? Where's the other tag team? Where are they building these tag teams? These you have a women's tag team champions, but you don't have a division.
Nope. That's a problem.
Great point.
All right. So, I mean, I just don't know where you go beyond this as well.
Charlotte is getting the robe on in the back, and then we get to see Becky limp down the hallway with her crutch. I puke, and then we go to the fatal 4-way match that AC just talked about.
I just spit up alcohol.
For the WWE United States title, and I am texting Hollywood like crazy, going, "Wait a minute! I thought this match was on the pre-show. I gotta actually sit through this son of a bitch. Are you kidding me? Is that a lie? Is that a lie, Hollywood?"
I didn't even know the card going in, so it's plainly funny because I had no idea where they're going at all on this show.
So we'll start with you this time, Saint. The fatal 4-way for the WWE United States title. I don't know how many times do I got to see these guys in the ring. Is it finally done? At this point, I've been reading rumors about WrestleMania and a possible Samoa Joe John Cena match. At this point, I'd welcome that. Just get rid of all this other nonsense with these other 4 guys. Saint, what did you think?
Yeah, I would definitely welcome that as well. I mean, because let's look at it this way. Didn't we get this match last week? And the answer is yes. It was literally on SmackDown. So to me, right off the bat, it's safe to say the sequel was not quite as good as the original, because the match on SmackDown, in my personal opinion, surpassed it and was superior like in every facet. But I digress. I still enjoyed tonight's match regardless, for what it's worth. I'm glad that Joe is finally has a title in WWE. It's a long time coming. He should have been like U.S. champion or Intercontinental champion maybe 12 months ago. I mean, I don't know, though. The match itself, a lot of good and bad. I mean, I think Samoa Joe's suicide dive into the 3 men was pretty cool. But, other than that, there wasn't a whole lot of other big memorable spots. But I will say this, though. Let's talk about Rey Mysterio for a second. He may just be in the greatest shape he's ever been in his whole career. And it's crazy to think about, considering his age and how long he's been in the business. I know he had a lot of help tonight, but he was absolutely incredible in this. He hasn't skipped a beat. And I kind of feel like the same could be said for R-Truth as well. The dude is 47 years old, and dude, he could still hang with the best of them and that are half his age. And I think he's another guy. This is some of the best work he's done in years. I know the character and the story that they're telling and the gimmick, it's kind of hokey. Okay, look past that. He's really good in the ring. I mean, for real. This dude is, both him and Rey Mysterio are having some of the best matches of their career, which is crazy to think that they're over 40. I mean, I don't know what else to say much more about it. I almost feel like those two were the stars in the match, even though Samoa Joe won. Of course, he rolled up Rey into the Coquina clutch and he got Rey to pass out. I mean, I almost felt like the match was more about Rey and of course R-Truth. They really shined well in this match. I do hope that going forward we move past this and either, maybe Joe goes against Cena, something like that. Maybe Andrade moves on to continuing the Rey Mysterio feud. But for real, I think the rest of the guys in the match, or I guess really just R-Truth, I kind of hope he kind of just fades into the background a little bit, because I think a lot of us are probably over him now, as far as they're kind of getting bored with him, I guess you could say.
I don't know. I love the R-Truth John Cena stuff. I love the You Can't See Me, the 5-knuckle shuffle. Oh man, I loved it all. But you're right. These two guys are up there in age. They're still performing at a high level, but boy, it's starting to look like Rey Mysterio is there just to put guys over, that he's going to be that, high-level jobber, if you will. AC, any comments on this match?
Real quick, Rey was kind of doing that before he came back, too. In All-In spot and some New Japan spots, and I saw him in some indie spots. When Rey first hit the indies, it was kind of like Rey Mysterio was on a show, you knew he wasn't losing. But he kind of reverted to that in other areas. He did it for Puma and Lucha Underground. I remember when he signed with Lucha Underground, we were afraid that they were just going to push Mysterio to the moon. And I think he, unlike El Patron, kind of took on that role, which is cool. Like that's honestly that's the spot he's in now. I always liked Andrade in NXT. I like the full name Andrade Cien Almas. I like the whole the flavor. I don't know why they have to go to this one name. Like, what is Aleister Black going to be? Is it going to be Aleister? Or is it going to be Black? You know, it's just like
Black and Black.
I see Dominic the Djokovic or whatever the fuck they're calling him in NXT right now, and I'm like, why did you even bother? Because if you ever bring him up, Vince is just going to be like, oh, we'll call him Dijak Pal, which has been called his whole life anyway. But anyway, the match was okay. Again, I'm not the U.S. title. It is what it is. It's nothing special. You want to do Joe versus Cena? All in on it. I'm with it. Do it. Start it Tuesday, please. Give me something. Bring John Cena back and his stupid haircut. I'll root for Joe. No problem.
Yeah, all I got to say is this. R-Truth is missing for 3 weeks. Their great storytelling is as follows. Okay. They decide to have him do an open challenge because of his infatuation with John Cena against Rey and Andrade. Then the next week, they're going to swerve us by adding Joe to the mix. Joe wins the title. And then at the big pay-per-view, it's going to be all 4 of them. And Joe's going to retain.
When you say it that way, it doesn't sound as good.
No.
No, it sounds terrible, actually. You're right, it sucked. I was trying to forget about it. You know what? The Saint is over here trying to be very positive.
Yes.
And you're being very negative, Hollywood. You're being more negative than I am.
That's true.
That sounds really bad when you say it like that, Hollywood.
That's all I got on that.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem.
They do a spot in the back. They hype the.
I guess we're done on that match.
We are done. They hype the Shield's reunion, and once again they mention, and I want to just mention this is they mentioned several times during the night the fact that Dean Ambrose is leaving, that he is not re-signing his contract with WWE, that he is moving on, and this is our last chance to see the Shield.
While you're at it, hit him up on Twitter and say, please stay, Dean. We love you. Re-sign your contract. Why don't you just come out and say it? That's what you're doing. Okay.
I think it's kind of like, I don't know, Hollywood. You tell me. I get it. They want to make sure that we know that it's the last time that the Shield will ride together, because it's the last time the Shield will ride together. But I almost thought it was a little overkill with how many times they told us about Dean Ambrose leaving and not signing his contract.
Yeah, well, first I should say when you ride with the Shield, you never walk alone. Woo! That's a different faction. Let me share this. They showed the initial spot, and Cole was saying, this is going to be the last time the Shield will ever ride together. And somebody in my house had a problem with that. And it wasn't me. The kid looks at me and he goes, what?
The kid.
I said, what's the matter? And dude, he looked like he was going to cry. He goes,
so did Seth.
Yeah, basically, yeah. The kid, Seth is playing my kid at this point. The kid goes, does this mean I'm not going to be able to see Roman Reigns anymore? And dude, I thought he was going to lose his marbles.
Roman Reigns! I love that he loves Reigns.
Yep, and I said,
I love the kid.
I said, nope, Roman's fine. It's just the Shield, the group. And I stuck my fist out. And he goes, oh, okay. And he fist bumped me.
So he don't care about the other
So
two
no,
jobbers.
he doesn't give a crap about Dean Ambrose.
He doesn't care about the lunatic and the crybaby. Just give me Roman Reigns. Up your ass, White. See, I keep telling you.
Yep, that's why I wanted to put that out. White,
Oh, thank God.
the kids love him.
Thank God, Dad. I don't give a shit about the crazy guy and the dick pic guy.
So
AC's take on it. He thinks they're begging for Dean to come to stay with the WWE. Saint, what do you think about them mentioning Ambrose is leaving so many times?
Well, I think it's smart that they're really pushing home the fact that he's going. I've changed.
Is it smart because? Is it smart because the WWE wrestling fan is so dumb? Is that what they're doing? Is trying to tell the dumb fan, soon you're not going to see him, and this is why?
Yeah, exactly. Because I'll even say that over the last couple of weeks, I've changed my tune. I definitely feel like he's definitely going at this point, and quite frankly, I don't blame him. He needs to get out of there, I think. And even if he doesn't join another promotion right away, take some time off. I mean, apparently he's like this guy that's like a very much a minimalist. So I think. Yeah, I think he's going to be good as far as money goes. I mean, I don't think he desperately is going to need to seek employment right away. I think he could just kind of relax, enjoy life, and, maybe freshen up a little bit, and that will build up more towards when he finally does come back wherever he decides to go. I mean, he'll be ready to go, and I think that the longer he stays out a little bit, that the more anticipation will build up when he actually does finally come back.
Hollywood, is he a AEW guy?
Moxley?
Yeah.
I think he can be. I don't know if it's going to happen right at first, though. I really don't. Everybody says he's so aloof and, like Saint said, minimalist. I don't know, man. It seems like his friends don't even know what the hell he's going to do, if you hear some of the interviews going around.
Right. AC, how much has his reputation been damaged by the WWE from the John Moxley days?
I would say this, given the cult-like fan base that a CZW has, I think if he came back, he wouldn't miss a beat. If you take Sami Callihan and times it by 30 to what Moxley is, I think if he went back to that realm of wrestling, I think he'd be accepted with open arms very quickly. I really would. AC, I don't think it affects him at all.
AC, let me ask you this. If AEW were to sign Sami and Moxley and just let them go at each other for like a year, could you imagine what that would look like?
Amazing.
Okay. I'm with you there.
No words. I'm not the biggest death match guy.
Right.
But when you're taking guys at that level of him and Callahan, of Moxley and Callahan, of Ambrose and what the hell did they call him in NXT? I don't even remember what they called Callahan. But anyway, when you're taking guys at that level, I think they present it as more of an art form than just two big fat truck drivers, sticking people through tables.
Now, why did you have to use truck driver?
I mean, because the last death match I saw at an indie show, they looked like two big fat truck drivers. That's all I'm saying. I'm not throwing shade at anybody. I'm really not. It just came to mind.
I mean, you could also, couldn't you plop those two guys together as a tag team maybe first, and they tag together for a while, and then you split them up and they have a feud? I mean, those two guys would be great as a tag team.
I would say this: those two versus the Lucha Brothers.
Let's move on to Sasha Banks and Bayley defending their titles against Nia Jax and Tamina Snuka. Yeah. I mean, you talk about spectacular tag team, main event wrestling. This was it. And Saint, why don't you lead us first? We had Beth Phoenix on the microphone there. She was at the table. And this spectacular match, take us through it, Saint.
Well, this match for me was the who cares segment of the night, because the whole match was a total friggin' botch fest, and it was probably the most boring match of the night. I don't even really know what the hell to even say about it. It was bad, bro. Real bad.
Okay,
this is going to be a quick one.
That's all I have to say about that.
Hey, see, you're not going to be short, are you?
I'm going to be very short. This was 2011 Brie and Nikki Bella bathroom break Divas match bad. That's all I got.
Wow, that's saying a lot.
Hollywood, save us here.
Oh boy. Okay, let me try and save it. We talked about old school tags, right? Mm-hmm. Why didn't they have the Twin Towers, like AC previously said? Why didn't they have the Twin Towers win the titles and let Bayley and Sasha chase them? Because if you look at it from a realism standpoint, they should. And again, I talked about this before. Nia Jax should not be taking Ranas from Carmella. I mean, look at the size of them compared to Bayley and Sasha.
Right.
Tell the story. Tell that story. And then you know what, too? Maybe we would care about Sasha and Bayley. Maybe we'd get sucked into it and we would want them to beat them eventually. You know, I think it's backwards.
I just want to clarify, when I made the Twin Towers statement, I wasn't being disparaging about their figure and all that. It was just they're the larger, stronger, more imposing. You know what I'm saying? That's where I was going with that. So I'm not.
Yeah, for people that don't know, there was a tag team in the past called the Twin Towers, and they were huge.
They were huge. They were bigger than their opponents and everything else. That's all I'm going with that. I don't want to make it seem like I'm disparaging these women, because that's not. And the other thing I'll say is, you said something there that I just want to grab real quick. When you said Nia taking Hurricane Ranas from Carmella and Alexa Bliss, and is that not the same thing though when we see Finn Balor doing it to Braun Strowman?
It is,
of course.
It is.
So I mean, this is my point being is this is not an attack on this specific talent.
Right.
It's an attack on the way they're being used and portrayed.
Even the way that match ended. I mean, Nia has Bayley up for like a power bomb, and somehow Bayley reverses it and takes all of Nia's weight and rolls her up and gets the win. It's not believable. It's just not believable. So triple threat match, again, you know, we talked about it earlier. I made the comment that I thought that Kevin Owens was kind of like the third man out here. I thought Mustafa Ali had a pretty good showing. I was glad that Daniel Bryan retained. Thoughts from you, Hollywood?
I thought Ali had a great showing. I love the 450 on the apron spot.
Tremendous.
Awesome. He fell off the top into the barricade. That was crazy. He needs to, slow down, save some. He might have had some punches on his bump card, as they say, tonight. So that dude needs to, slow it down a bit, extend the career. But I thought he had a great showing. And again, like I said earlier, coming out of this, I don't see where they're going unless it's Kofi. I can't see Owens one-on-one. He has a gripe storyline-wise to say, hey, I prepared for a one-on-one match. I'm the prize fighter, whatever. But, man, I really think we're going to see something this week where Stephanie and Triple H, or maybe one of them, says something to Vince. And we're going to go, okay, here it comes. This is the moment. It's coming. Dad, you got to go.
AC, I'm not sure that Owens has a gripe. He was thrown into this match when it was somebody else's match. In fact, that guy was signing a contract that very night that it was taken away from him, and Owens was thrown into it. Your thoughts?
I'm going to piggyback off of what Hollywood just said real quick about with your guys with this whole Vince is crazy, he'll be removed scene. No, listen. I'm going to back you up with what you said, because it was actually the point I was going to make. At some point, if that's the case, we need to see a spot where Stephanie's sitting next to Vince shaking her head, or after he walks out of the office, she makes a phone call like, the old man's lost it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
If I see that, I'm all in with your theory. I don't know, man. Like, where did this come from? Like, this is what I was talking about the other day with being confusing.
Why do I picture the Undertaker in his room right now choking him? That's what I thought I was hearing there.
Listen, guys, you barged into Vince's office. You screwed me. If I just sat out there and did what Uncle Vince said, I'd have a match now. But you guys had to barge in, so I get squashed. And then he puts Mustafa Ali in the match, and not me. It's because of you. I'm done with you. And Kofi removes himself from the New Day, and then he walks past Vince in the back, and he's like, "I like the fire, pal." And next thing you know, he's back on Vince's radar. That I could see that happening as quickly as I could see the old man has lost it, or maybe both things happen. I'm just saying they got to get to something somewhere that makes some kind of sense.
The Kofi that was on SmackDown that night that went through that, what do you call that gimmick match that they did that night? The Gauntlet match. When he was in the ring with AJ, And he was pushing AJ and said, "Don't say that to me. I've been here 11 years." All that stuff. That's the Kofi Kingston I want to see. That's the Kofi Kingston I want to see getting a shot at the title. At the beginning of this match, as soon as the bell rang, triple threat match, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Mustafa Ali, Saint, the fans immediately started chanting, "We want Kofi." Thoughts?
Yeah, there was a very interesting dynamic in this match where, like, practically it came across like all three of them were heels. And, like you said, there were lots of Kofi chants, lots of "we want Kofi" chants, and despite all that, it was an okay match. I mean, despite all that, they did a good job getting the fans behind Mustafa Ali slowly but surely as the match went on a little bit. But even then, like, you could tell they just were not really like getting like reactive towards any of them three guys. And as Stame said earlier in the night, I think Kevin Owens kind of was the third wheel essentially of that match. I think it definitely showed. And I think that shows that there's no way they could have it be Owens versus Bryan singles match at Mania. I just don't see it.
I have to agree. 100%. Moving on, of course, Daniel Bryan got the win. Moving on, we go to the big match. Charlotte Flair takes on the man, Becky Lynch. And guys, the match was what it was. Charlotte Flair pretty much dominated the match. Becky got her shots in. I don't know. I thought the ending was a little anticlimactic with Ronda running in. Saint, what did you think about the match and particularly the ending?
Well, the first thing about this match that I thought was good was what happened before the match. The video package recapping the whole Becky, Ronda, Charlotte storyline and hyping the match, it was very well done. I mean, we've said it a million times, but WWE always has top-notch video packages. Like, their production's just amazing. I mean,
if the show could just be all video packages, it would be great.
It's better than CWF Mid-Atlantic?
Go ahead, say. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I thought the voiceovers with Becky, I thought that was throughout the video. I thought that was a great touch. I thought that was, like I said, that was probably the highlight of that whole entire segment. I mean, I thought it was funny. Charlotte was holding the rope open for Becky during the entrance and taunting her. I thought that was really funny. Charlotte always has these excellent heel mannerisms and antics. I mean, even during the match, I thought this was really funny. She has Becky's leg or whatever, and Becky's like swinging at her, and you could tell she totally misses it. It was so bad, like the camera work on it, and she goes, "You're gonna have to hit me harder than that." And it was so funny. She was going, "You good? You good?" or something. She said it like about 3 times, and I was just laughing so hard during that. And like, that's the thing with Charlotte. She is just such a good heel. I mean, the way that she was like toying with her and, having fun at the start of the match, it was really done well on Charlotte's part. She's underrated as far as her acting goes. Maybe on the mic, she's not the greatest sometimes because of the scripting, but as far as like totally like pure acting, she's very good at it. She's very believable. And I think I think Edward said this in the past, I believe she believes that she's the queen. Obviously she's very believable. And the match itself, it like you guys said, it was what it was. I mean, the way that the match was going, obviously Becky wasn't getting much offense until Charlotte, she got too arrogant, I guess was basically the storytelling. She climbed the turnbuckle for the moonsault, and, Becky pushes her off, and then that's kind of when she kind of got a little bit of an edge. But then, of course, we have Ronda come out for the DQ, which, looking at it back, I think it was smart, but at the same time, I think it was also, like you said, I think it was very anticlimactic. I mean, it was smart having her win that way because, it doesn't make Charlotte look bad that she, lost to somebody that's basically a cripple. But at the same time, I found that it was very weird that there was virtually no retaliation from Charlotte. I mean, shouldn't she be like absolutely pissed off and disgusted and that she got like screwed and now it's a triple threat, like an attack like Lynch or Ronda? Like it didn't happen. And it's very weird that they did that. But back to like what I said earlier, in the show here. I do think that essentially, we're going to get the payoff with the Becky Lynch thing. I think as far as it goes, this is a good way to still keep her kind of to keep her fresh and the fans, still behind her without her needing to actually win. And I think, as far as I think it's still safe to say that we'll have to wait until WrestleMania till we get to, finally have our Becky lunch and eat it too.
Right. AC, do you disagree with any of that?
I'm on the same page to an extent. I agree. I didn't like Flair's reaction to the DQ. I don't want Flair in the program anyway, and it's, again, nothing against her. Great performer. Everything you said is true about Flair. She annoys the shit out of me, and I can't stand her, but I shouldn't because she's a heel, right? So, cool. But that doesn't mean she's not a good performer. I didn't want her in this program to begin with. I hate the way the match finished. I hated her reaction, but I also hated Becky's reaction. Because if Becky's really the man, the badass that's going to take out Ronda Rousey, and now Ronda Rousey while taking on Charlotte Flair, she's going to smile about a win that was handed to her. I'll take the title from you. I'll take my WrestleMania shot back, but now it's getting handed to me and I'm going to be excited about that. Like, shouldn't that piss her off? That I didn't like that part of the reaction. And I don't like it from Ronda's perspective at all. Honestly, I played a little fantasy booking in my mind after this all happened, and I'm going to walk down that road with you guys where Vince is the crazy man, right? He's out of his tree. Open Raw with Vince. Ronda, you got involved in a match. I wanted Charlotte Flair, and you screwed it up for me. I'm stripping you of the title. My new champion is Charlotte Flair. And then work your way into, we talked about the gimmick gauntlet match. Take the 5 best women's wrestlers not named Becky and Charlotte and have Ronda do a gauntlet match to open WrestleMania for her way back into the WrestleMania match. Have her kick the shit out of both of them. Grab the microphone and going, this is my title. I'm the baddest bitch on the planet, and I'll defend it when I want to. Mic drop. Walk up the ramp. See you later. Ronda goes away for a couple months, does a Brock Lesnar. That's until they get to something like that, I'm out on all this. I don't care. There's not the Becky getting over, the big payoff for Becky. I don't see it. I don't care about it. There's no way to get back to it for me. And there's no way, given the fact that she's so injured, she could barely wrestle Charlotte Flair without coming down the ring with a crutch, that in 3 or 4 weeks, she's going to wrestle Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. And we're going to do this underdog, so injured. Oh my God, she beat all of them. To me, it's going to cheapen Ronda's character. It's going to drive me crazy. I'm out on the whole program.
I can absolutely.
I was going to say, as much as I like Charlotte, I kind of feel like they should have just kept this to have it be Ronda versus Becky. I mean, it wrote itself. It made sense. They had it right in their lap, and they kind of blew it. And I think, I still think the match itself, though, will be very good, I think, because Charlotte's amazing. Ronda's the baddest, like AC said, the baddest bitch on the planet. She is absolutely awesome. I love the realism that she brings, as far as her in-ring work goes. And, of course, everybody loves Becky. So, I think the match itself will still be good, but they kind of blew it, I think, by making it a triple threat. Should have just been, Ronda and Becky.
To piggyback off that, where they're at with this now is Becky is the one who tapped the Asuka, who's now injured, who Ronda had to save to get her into the match. She's not the man. She's not badass Becky that's supposed to take out the baddest woman on the planet. She's a very vulnerable, injured puppy dog right now. And I just don't think that was the right way to go with her character. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts about it.
Well, Hollywood, you and me have been talking about logistics and reality for the last few weeks. And AC makes a good point. Becky comes into this match. She's on a crutch. She can hardly walk. And let's face it, Charlotte tortured her tonight. So she's in worse shape now than she was when she started that match. Now we're supposed to believe that in 4 weeks, she's going to be ready for WrestleMania. Now, we already know that she wasn't ready tonight to wrestle. She had to sign a hold harmless agreement just to get into the match. Then I look at the finish of the match, too. Ronda Rousey comes in, she interferes. Now, logistically, does it make sense? Ronda Rousey's the champion. Shouldn't she want a one-on-one match? To put Becky Lynch in that match, it's not really that smart because then she doesn't have to take the pin to lose. She could be out of the ring, and Charlotte or Becky could beat the other.
That's a great point, too.
And win the match. But because of what AC said, Ronda Rousey really believes she is the baddest bitch on the planet. Does she care if there's 10 people in the match? She's going to beat them all anyway. What do you think, Hollywood?
I'm not sure what the question was there, but
just when you think you know the answer, I changed the question.
Exactly.
Or I don't even tell you what the question is.
The finish of the match I thought was okay because it protected Charlotte. But here's my problem with the whole thing. And I don't know if you guys want to get into this or because we could talk about this for hours. But everything's Ronda's doing on social media. She just did that video the other day. It's all scripted. It's all, I'm going off script. I don't give an F about you. I don't give an F about the fans. However you feel about that, whatever. I could see both parts of it. Both points to it. But after that, she shows up, slides into the ring, punches Becky, gets Charlotte disqualified, stood there, and left. Okay? So if you're trying to sell me, Ronda, if you're trying to sell me on the fact that this is real, why didn't you just beat the shit out of her again?
Yeah, absolutely.
You walked in, you punched her, you got the
one
DQ,
time,
and the response is would probably be, well, I want to fight her at WrestleMania. Well, how does that make sense?
That's scripted, and
that's scripted. Exactly, that's the scripted part that you're telling me is fake. So which is it?
What about the referee's reaction where he waited a solid minute to 90 seconds to actually call the DQ? He was like shocked. Like, did they tell him she was going to do this? He like got up, he looked around, he's like, ring the bell, ring the bell. It's like, no, motherfucker, she hit her. Ring the bell right away. Sell the story. Like, what are you doing?
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. That I'm completely baffled by this whole story.
Yeah.
In 22 hours, you're absolutely right at the point where you're saying it's time to do something. You know, if that's what they're doing, if that's where this is going, they need to do it tomorrow. Vince should open the show and tell Stephanie, you said this is what's best for business. I didn't say that. I'm the man. So again, Becky is not in it. She's not in it, Ronda. Whatever you think you didn't do anything. So that's going to piss off Becky and piss off Ronda. Maybe you do. Maybe you take it the next step, strip Ronda, give it to Charlotte, and then you can mess with both Becky and Ronda. Because now Charlotte's the champ and she's the only one in the match. That's what Vince McMahon would do in this situation.
I kind of like your idea, too, where he takes it out on Becky again because of Stephanie. But the point being is they advanced the story that Vince wants to make this match. He doesn't want all these stipulations and Stephanie making this match.
Right.
He wants to make the match. So maybe, remember a couple weeks ago I was like they should do Becky and Flair for the right to face Ronda. Maybe he makes it Becky versus Ronda the right to face Flair.
There you go.
It's the same. It's different parts moving in a different way, but it still tells the same story. Yeah. And then you have something. I'm back in on that. Right now, give me something. That's all I'm saying. Just give me something.
We're looking at their social media stuff, the thing that really got the ball rolling was Becky putting that picture of Ronda's husband on the arm there, and that pissed Ronda off, right? That was the thing that crossed the line.
Right.
Well, Ronda beat the shit out of Becky last week and was stepping on her face and left her for dead. So she got her revenge there. To me, if I'm Ronda, I'm not going to help Becky win and get in WrestleMania. I know Becky wants that more than anything. In fact, if I went into the ring, I would have punched Charlotte Flair. And then I would have looked at Becky and
That
said,
would make
take
more
that,
sense.
bitch.
Yep, that would have made more sense. Yep.
I agree. I would have liked that better.
Well, I'll say this: that, there's two sides of the coin with this, and I don't necessarily agree or disagree with what she did. You know, I guess the idea behind it is a lot of people pretty much think that that's is hurting the business, of course, by putting it down that it's scripted and all this stuff, but also at the same time, it will bring in new it might possibly bring in a new audience, and it's essentially getting more attention to the brand and the product anyway by doing that. I mean, I think she has that legitimacy and has that star power that she was able to do that video that she did, and it did a good job of actually bringing attention to the WWE. Whether it was positive or negative, it's good publicity either way you look at it. But like I was going to say, I really don't have an opinion either or as far as whether it was a good thing or a bad thing, her doing that.
The one thing I want to piggyback off what you said there, though, is with her breaking kayfabe and breaking script, so to speak, claiming things are scripted. The one thing about that is she's not the only one doing that. They did that themselves with Ambrose, and I'm sure we'll get into this before tonight's over or tomorrow or whenever. Triple H did that himself Monday night. Yeah. So it seems to be a company theme, which makes me believe that she, originally when I saw her first Instagram post where she called out Becky for the fake mugshot, I was like, what is she doing? And everybody I texted to was like, oh my God, this bitch doesn't get the business. And she doesn't. And now after seeing the whole story, no, she does. She's doing their story. Their story is to make it real, to break kayfabe, for Triple H to call Ric Flair by his real name, for the WWE to call Dean Ambrose by his real name. They are breaking this ground right now as a company. So it's not like if she was the only one doing it, we'd all be sitting here saying, wow, damn, does Ronda respect the business or whatever? And this whole respect the business shit, it's like baseball with the fucking unwritten rules. Shut up already, please. I don't care if you're an indie wrestler, a trainer, or you've been reporting on wrestling for 25 years. Just respect the business, da-da-da. Everything changes, all right? You go different ways with shit, and everything evolves, so get over yourselves. Anyway, now that I said that, point being is this is a company theme now where I don't think Ronda is just stepping out of her own with these promos and these social media posts.
Yep. And Hollywood, the last thing I'll say about this is that if you carefully listened as Becky walked to the ring for that match tonight, it was painfully silent. The adoration and the pop is gone. And that may go back to something AC said earlier, that people are just tired of the whole thing.
Right. They're mucking it up.
You play around sometimes when you play around too much, people get over it. That's my fear for the Kofi thing as well.
Now, don't get me wrong. They do that little, hey, they sing along with the song. But as far as the cheering, there wasn't any.
They sing with everybody's song now, though. They sang with that. What's his name? Ty Dillinger. Ty Dillinger's song with the 10. Everybody cheered for that too. Where's he now? He's wrestling under his real name, on the indie scene.
So there's Elias standing. I guess he thought he was going to have her come in the ring with him, but she doesn't. And out of nowhere, Elias gets hit with an RKO.
Yeah, RKO out of nowhere, baby. Randy Orton.
And then out of nowhere, AJ Styles appears on the apron and flies in with a phenomenal forearm to bring down Orton. AJ's music hits, and what the hell? I guess that's a WrestleMania match.
Well, it's about time that AJ showed that he still has some testicles left, so I'm going to like this spot because Randy Orton has been basically calling him a little bitch in the back segments on SmackDown.
I love how WWE makes us all hate our favorite wrestlers. It's amazing.
But we always love Randy Orton and John Cena and Roman Reigns. They find a way.
Yep.
And one thing is they do. They make you cream for Randy Orton, John Cena, and Roman Reigns. It's one thing they do right. Because you're just like I said to you today, when I'm watching WWE, I want Randy Orton, I want John Cena, I want Roman Reigns, I want Triple H, I want Dave Bautista.
Drew McIntyre, a neatly dressed Baron Corbin, and Bobby Lashley.
Get off my boy Corbin, bro. I like Corbin.
Will take on the Shield. And Saint, I thought this match was a ton of fun. I marked out for the whole thing. I really enjoyed myself. I got to admit, I sat there like a kid. I took in the moment because I did realize that this is the last time we're going to see these three boys together. And I don't care about all the shit that's happening. I don't care about not liking this guy or that guy or who's leaving or staying. I just wanted to enjoy this match and enjoy this moment. And damn it, I did it. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, I like the match. I think it was a good idea having that end the show and have the Shield get their big moment. I mean, right off the bat, too, I thought it was cool that they actually had some backstory with this. They sold the fact that Braun Strowman destroyed Leo Rush on Raw, and they explained why he was not there during the entrances. I think that was very good, and I think it was
something
nice
new.
To see some content. Yeah, it was nice to see some continuity and storytelling for a change.
Fantastic point. Fantastic point.
Yeah. And the match was excellent. I mean, it was a very fun match. Like Stame said, I think the match served as a great tribute and retrospective to the Shield's run in WWE. They got to do all their big spots, of course. And I also think it was a good way to showcase Corbin and our good buddy Roman Reigns, because, I mean, I liked how in the middle of the match, it kind of broke down where it was Rollins and Ambrose and McIntyre and Lashley. Like, it broke down on the outside where it transitioned into the Pier 6 brawl. And then the focus was on Reigns and Corbin in the middle of the ring in the match. And I think it was excellent because these two guys could friggin' go, bro. I mean, a lot of marks give these two guys flack for their in-ring performances, but they could absolutely bang out some incredible stuff. I mean, so it was really nice to see them two get the spotlight and prove all them idiots wrong because, look at Corbin. The guy is very underrated in the ring. I don't care what anybody says about the guy. He could do some very good matches when he's allowed to work holds and use classic ring psychology and actually, get himself heat and get the anticipation built up for the face. And I mean, it's the same thing with Reigns. He has showed that he has been, gone these last couple of months, but he hasn't lost a step. And he didn't have any ring rust at all. In fact, I thought he looked really damn good tonight, especially, like I said, when he had that kind of the focus put on him in the middle of the ring, like in the middle of the match where it was mainly him and Corbin being showcased. He absolutely friggin' did excellent.
Well, of course he looked good. He was out with fake cancer. Hey, Hollywood, Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta. What'd you think of it, bro?
I thought it was cool to see them once again say goodbye to the Shield. At one point, I got smarky with it, and I was thinking, is this a match, or are we just not going to count out the fact that everybody's outside beating the crap out of each other, and then the three of them got in the ring and the ref wasn't doing anything but standing there. But I let it go because it was what it was. It was for the goodbye to the Shield. So I thought it was good, but there was something that you texted me during this match that I wanted to throw out for Captain of Swag and Saint here. Stames, you said to me, the drop-off between the 6 guys in this match to the rest of the card is insane.
It is.
If you think about, that made me really think about the rest of the show that I just watched up till that point. Dude, there's no comparison between those 6 guys and the rest of the roster.
Well, I wouldn't say the rest of the roster. I would say the rest of the roster that was on the card tonight.
Oh, that's what
I'm
saying.
saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying because I know Randy Orton had that quick spot, but
yeah, within the parameters of the
right.
Card,
when you get Orton and Cena and Triple H and Batista, and we get all the WrestleMania show, like I I 1,000% agree with what you're saying.
I think I would throw Triple H and Batista in there with that too.
Okay, that's
they're
fair.
A drop off too, in my opinion. I don't know.
All right, okay.
I mean, even Baron Corbin with his Applebee's getup that he wears.
Get off my boy, bro. Come on. Listen, when he hit Reigns with that end of days, that shit was legit, bro.
Dude, I love that move. I love that move.
I do too. I like Corbin, and I understand how you don't like him wearing the outfit, the getty up, whatever, the button down shirt. I think he wears it because I think he knows it annoys you. So he's listening to the show and he's like, "Fuck DJ Sting, I'm gonna wear this." And I hope that's the reason. I really do. No, the
reason I'm pissed at him is when I walked in Applebee's and I go 2, and he goes 4. I said 2. He said 4. I said 2. And then he sat me and my wife. So.
All right. So anyway, the reason I like this. First of all, the match was great. Better than I expected, to be honest. And I don't know why it was better than I expected, because let's face it, like you said, the 6 guys in this match can all go. We know, despite what the internet wrestling community wants to say about Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin, and I know they're kind of nice to Drew McIntyre right now, but all those guys could go, and we know all the Shield guys could go. What I liked the most about it was they went old school Shield. The outfits, the coming through the crowd, the way they stalked their prey, the way they used to do. It was old school Shield. They got the great nostalgia pop. The last time they put the Shield together, I didn't feel this way about the Shield. I felt it was like, yeah, they're got together, but is it really that cool? This felt really cool. And I think that given all the other storyline shit we've been talking about, to end the pay-per-view on this close to WrestleMania was just kind of like, all right, let's have some fun with this. And it made it entertaining because we were invested in the Shield for a long time. And with all the stuff with Reigns and now Ambrose leaving, you have that feeling about them. If you asked me yesterday, would Vince have done this just for the good feeling and the entertainment, I would have been like, nope, he's going to close with Daniel Bryan, or he's going to close with Ronda and Becky. I like the fact they did it. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was great. Little the goosebumps. I didn't get tears like Seth Rollins, but it was cool.
Sounds like we did it. The whole card. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in, fans of Soldiers of Shoot. Remember, you can catch us on Twitter. Soldiers of Shoot is the place to go. You can find all of us at Soldiers of Shoot. So for Hollywood Edwards, for the Captain of Chaos, for the Electric City Saint, I am DJ Stames. Good night, and thanks for tuning in.